had an easy week, continuing to have a good weekend with less drama, more positive vibes. Welcome once again. I'm happy that all of you are giving me support on this journey. And I know most of you, the people that are talking to me, email me, they're telling me they cannot wait for the next episode and wishing me well and my children well. Thank you for the feedback, for the reviews, for the emails that I'm receiving. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. One thing that I want to tell you, my friends, this is one thing I promised myself. I will stop doing that. I will stop doing. People left my life, like I lost friends and relatives in the past few years. Even recently, a close friend, a dear friend to me and my kids, a friend, my heart friend, talked ill of me. And while he was doing this, I could not defend myself. I wasn't there. I just came to learn about it. I wasn't there to defend myself, and I did not need to defend myself because we did nothing wrong. My kids did nothing wrong. Kids are kids. They can do stuff, but it doesn't reach to a point of saying lies to please somebody. I know family is family, So this story will come on my 7th episode, but I'll give you a little bit of that episode. Can you imagine somebody very close to you, grew up with, taking care of your kids, and then wanting to take advantage of that situation, telling you to pay his car payments, monthly car payments. Like, is it because you're taking care of my children that you want me to pay your car payments? I used to do everything. But this person never appreciated it. So according to what, over the months that he stayed with my children, this was just monetary again. I learned about it, but I never confronted my heart friend. I just let it go. Even if he used to take my kids to the barber shop, to the hair salon, I used to refund back that money. Trash. Name it. I used to pay. I used to do everything. Like, this person took in my children. I used to make sure I cover all the bills so that he doesn't feel no pressure. He used to help, but I used to refund that money because these are the kinds of stories I never wanted to come out, that I took care of the children, but she never did. No, I used to make sure I refund it to seal those loopholes that people will talk back, but it still did. So no matter what you do, they still talk about it. So I just let it go, but I promised myself I will stop being concerned about people. If you're not on my team and not playing on my side, I'd rather be happy for you from afar and letting go of the weight of other people's opinion and being me. If you have no basis in my life, I got a simple thing to tell you. Bye. So, a little bit of the recap from my previous episode. Like I told you, my kids had no food. I just ate tomato for lunch, and my cousin was too drunk to even come home and cook. So things never got better. And so, one Saturday afternoon, while I was cleaning my house, listening to music as usual, you know how there's that lazy Saturday afternoon, cleaning, doing laundry and all that. So the kids were home, but I was planning to call when I was done. When I received a phone call that I never wanted to receive, my heart was pounding. Because this is a phone call I dreaded ever calling my number. it was strange, but it was my cousin's husband. He rarely called me. When I used to call, he was rarely home. Or when he's there, I could just say hi on my cousin's number. But this phone call was scary. It was really scary. I picked the phone and it was speaking like a machine. Confused. Like rambling. Hey, mama. Hey, mama. I was like, calm down. So that I could understand. I could understand him. He started telling me he's just come from work. He was not feeling well. If my memory is right, he told me he found the house in a mess. So in my mind, I'm like, that's the way it has always been. Or what could have happened to make him so sounding like this? So he kept on telling me that it seems like there was a scuffle in the house. I'm like, what? Where are my kids? Where are my kids? He was talking, I'm talking on top of his words. Where are my kids? I want to talk to my kids. Where are my kids? He's like, the kids are seated outside the door. I found them crying and the house was locked from inside, but the kids were locked outside. I'm like, why? Then he's like, all the kids are fine. I'm like, why are my kids locked outside? I just told him, give me my children. I want to talk to my children. Then he gave me, he called my daughter. I had him call my daughter, and then my daughter came because she was like sniffing, like saying, my daughter came on phone and said, hello, mommy. I said, hi, mama, are you okay? She said, no, mama, I'm not okay, mama. This is the first time my daughter said the truth, that she's not okay. Then I asked my daughter, what's wrong? She said, no, we've been told to sit outside, not to go inside the house because we are the ones who messed the house. I'm like, okay. It said, I'm not supposed to go back in the house till late at night. So I just told her, give Baba the phone. So my cousin's husband took the phone and I told him, before we do even anything, kindly just go to the shop downstairs and get the kids some fries and some pop. Something they can just fill up their stomachs. Because I had made a friend with the guy after the other lady on my previous episode helped me out. So I got his number. So he used to help my children in a very secretive way by giving them food, and then I used to pay him. So my kids ate, and my kids were left at the restaurant, and my cousin's husband decided to ask me, she doesn't know where the wife is. I said, yeah, I know where the wife is because the kids had already told me on previous days where she at. So I told my husband's cousin that she's just at the local pub. Just walk over there and you'll find her there. So my cousin's husband went there despite him not feeling well. So he went to pick up the wife from the local pub. Boy, did she embarrass that man. She was drunk already, and a physical fight ensued. She really belittled the man so bad, and he came back to the house without the wife. I'm like, where is she? Then he started narrating what really happened. So I told him, you gotta go and get her. So he went and they came home dragging, abusing each other, whatever. It was verbal, kind of verbal. So there was nothing to say that day because what is the use of talking to someone when they are drunk? I told the hubby, there's no need of a fight. Wait until she sobers up. And by the way, you're not feeling well. Get some rest. Just the kids at least have eaten something. And we'll see. You two can discuss and sort your issues. But behind the scenes, I was planning an exit. I was talking to a friend that I met here, where I am now. Also, if she could help me out. She's from the same country, so she told me that the sister can help me. So we agreed on that. So I was looking for a house by that time because the sister was to relocate from a different part of the city, from a city and then come to the city because the sister also lives in a city. So she was to move. So I was to wait till she moved because it was like, it could take like almost like 2 to 3 weeks. But then my sister also was planning a trip back home. So they had to reconcile. This is the funny part. They had to reconcile because they had no choice. They had no choice. They had to reconcile because if they did not, they could have lost the free money that I was giving them. I paid rent, I paid their children's school fees, I bought food, I paid electricity, I gave them extra cash, I took her to the hair salon, I bought clothes, I did everything. So they had to reconcile, my dear friends. They had to. Little did they know, I was busy planning how my kids will leave this house. It did not take long. My sister arrived. And my cousin went and picked her from the airport. She thought all was good. But my sister knew everything. My sister arrived, took my kids temporarily, and they went over my brother's house. Yes, my brother's house. But at least my sister was there, so I did not mind. So things were good because I did not know what was happening with my cousin this other side. So I was just concerned about my daughter and my son. At least they were happy the auntie was there. So it did not take long, and then my sister told me she wanted to travel to the village, and we planned the trip. So while we were planning this trip, it took like a week, and then we planned this trip. So I had promised my children, because my daughter had asked about the father, so I had promised my kids that en route they will visit their daddy when my sister is heading to the village. So the journey began, and my cousin joined this trip. This was the worst decision for her to even go to this trip. But the kids were there, and then my sister had his husband and some in-laws also. So they were all going to the village. So when the journey began, this was just not good. And then, if I can go back a little bit, I had not told my sister the horrible state the kids were living. I just said a bit, but not to alarm anyone, because I could receive advice from people, but no one was willing to help me and the kids. The kind people listened, but it's just some juice to go talk about. I could tell somebody my story, they could just listen, but nobody could give me a helping hand, So I stopped telling people my struggles. There's only one friend of mine we schooled together in high school. She agreed to take in my kids. She's the only one who said, bring the kids to me. But I did not. Because I think I was to change schools, and I had already changed schools. But I normally regret why I never took the offer. I really do. She opened her doors, but I declined. Back to my story. Let me talk about my sister a bit. I've not seen my sister for almost 10 years. The last time I think I saw my sister, if I'm not wrong, was in 2013. It was my younger brother's funeral. Yeah. That was the last time I saw my sister. But we talk often. We really talk often. Yeah. So my sister arrived, and she was to travel to the village, so together with my kids and cousins. So en route to the village, let me go back to the story. They were to go by their father. The kids were to see their father. So here en route to the village, my cousin had sneaked alcohol in the van. So it reached a point she was so drunk, and my sister even confronted her, because she wanted to get out of the van, and my daughter, the van, she was seated where she wasn't able to go out, so my daughter had to stand up. But the thing is, she had to literally push my daughter, and my daughter hit her head in the window, and my sister wasn't happy about that. My sister confronted her about it, and she literally pushed my sister's head, like... Then all of a sudden, my cousin peed on herself. She was drunk, and she was so defensive and abusive. It was a sad state, because my sister had the husband and the relatives, the in-laws, because they were going to the village. It was just not a good scene. It was just not a good scene. So there was a back and forth of words, and then at that time, my kids had reached to say hi to their father, it was just a lot of confusion, So my sister, out of the respect, everybody decided to be calm, but my cousin disappeared. Little did they know, she went to a local village pub, and then went and took some alcohol. And then, would you believe she left my cell phone number with these people? When my kids were busy saying hi to the daddy, and then my sister also were just, the way you have those stops and people eat something or buy stuff, that's when she disappeared. It was crazy. It was really crazy. And then she just came out from nowhere. But she got into the van and they went to the village. It's a remote village. So some funny numbers started calling me. It's a 254 number. They started calling me that there's a bill I need to pay. I'm like, what bill am I supposed to pay? I wasn't there. Who are you? So I came to realize she left my name, my baby daddy's name there, my kids' names there, So that's the village and my baby daddy is known there. So they was forcing me to pay this bill and I refused. So I blocked that number. Another number called me. I blocked that number. It was continuous. And this went on for a week. But I guess they got tired after like a week of trying to reach me and they stopped. This was so embarrassing. And my sister, they just said, no, we need to do something ASAP. So my sister had suggested an in-law of hers. But I was skeptical because I did not know her personally. I did not know this side of where my sister was married very well. So I could not just give away my kids again. It is stressful. You just, from point A to point B, from point A to point B, you give out your kids, So I was really skeptical, but that's the only option my sister had for the moment. But I did not take it. So my kids sadly went back to my cousin's house. But at this time round, I was talking to a friend, the way I just told you, my friend who lives here with me. I was talking to her and she had agreed they will take in when the sister relocates to the city. She was supposed to get a house and living arrangement and we could change everything. And as fate will say, I met a good friend, Penny, and I was talking to her and she told me her sister can help and she can stay with the kids. She loves kids. We started making arrangements of moving. And the kids had no choice, but I was literally trying my best to make my children comfortable. While I was moving my kids, there was a lot of vulgar, verbal words exchanged. And y'all, if you like the show, please consider leaving a review. This helps my podcast to grow. Then hit the follow button. And if you have questions, send me an email at achoch@gmail.com. Or if you want your story to be shared anonymously or want to join me on my show, contact me on my email. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate you for tuning in and taking time to listen to my story. Share, follow wherever you're listening at iHeart, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Spreaker. Coming up next time on Parents Guilty Conscious on my 6th episode, I will be introducing my daughter, and she will talk about the experiences she went through in a brief conversation while I introduce my friend who helped my kids from my cousin. Thank you, and bye-bye.